Melissa for sure. The Melissa for sure.
The best use of our time.
Oh yeah. Don't get nobody in here because it's Bleach, bro. These motherfuckers.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
1,000%. I'm gonna be honest. I think the only person I could debate Bleach with and actually get any VC is like Bridge.
Oh my dad.
Oh, it's Bleach. Lame.
You wanna start?
Hey, you can go first, man.
It's lights. Oh no. Okay, I'll mute.
Thank you.
Go one sec.
God, I still won't get over the fucking fact that the name is something. The team name. All right, but yeah, Regulus, you can start whenever.
Sure. Although I'm thinking the negation. If you want to start, it's fine. But
okay. Well, I guess my main thing is like, yeah, they should all have like pretty consistent light speed scaling. There's a few people who have blatant light speed feats, and then there's just so much other scaling between these other characters between them. Like it even be narratively consistent, because even when you look at later points in the series, they seem to refer to Lieutenant as kind of like a level of power within the series. Captain seems to have like many tiers within it, but they specifically mention lieutenants. There are of course like obvious exceptions to lieutenants who are as strong as like captains, like, you know, Renji. But yeah, that's pretty much the long and short of it.
Okay, so then we established that Lieutenant pertains like a general tier of strength, and you there's a preponderance of evidence leading towards them being light speed. What exactly do you believe that substantiates that the light speed?
Oh yeah, here, so the main feat, there's two. The Negacion, whenever the light beam comes down. What's her name? Rangiku was looking at it, as well as Shuhei. And so we see that both of them are able to perceive that and move out of the way. So even if you want to say the movement speed isn't light speed, that's fair. At the bare minimum, their reaction speeds are at that point. As well as the feat with Rukia when she fights against Aronero. She blasts a hole in the wall. The light is already coming in through the wall, and we could still see Aronero's faces in shadows, and he outruns it. Naruki is not even like the strongest like lieutenant class at that point.
Yes, sure. So we can go one at a time. So your initial claim was in response to the Negacion.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Although I know that light, the Negacion is stated to be light in its nature, but like anime or like Eastern media more specifically, light doesn't necessarily contain all the in-world attributes that we typically ascribe to light. So let's say if there's an anime or manga called My Hero Academia, I know it's a different series, but it's just as a precedent, and he has an attack or a quirk that is a laser, so it's light in its nature, but the attack isn't anywhere near light speed. It's like slow enough a person can react. There's lots of other examples in the other media like Naruto, but like generally speaking, light more so is like an elemental variant, whereas it doesn't necessarily carry all like the inward attributes that we typically ascribe to light. So like even though if they dodge a light attack, it doesn't necessarily entail that it's light speed.
So what attributes would you say are needed for you to think that something is light speed? Like just you personally, like, or you can prove it.
Yeah, so I guess it would be like how, if you can establish a baseline for like how fast people are. So let's say someone has like an average human like movement speed, and if they dodge attacks that although they are mentioned to be light, if those people move at like relatively normal speeds, then we can infer that okay, that light, even though it's light in like some elemental case, it's probably not necessarily light speed.
Okay, no, but that's not what I'm asking. What I'm asking is like what properties does it have to have for you to say that it's light?
What properties?
Yeah.
I'm not sure what specific. I would say it would be light. I'm not sure what specific properties I could point to, but I could say you can contextualize the light if there are statements that show, hey, this person's attacks are a speed of sound, then we can like downscale that light. but I'm not sure what specific individual property that I could point to that say, hey, it needs this property to be considered light speed.
Okay, well, my big thing is like there are two things here. The speed of light is because of its properties. Mostly being like massless, which is why it ends up being which is why like radio waves are also at that speed because it's massless entirely. The specific, especially that part of the spectrum, but yeah. So if there's no way for you to determine if something is or isn't light, it seems as though the only thing that you would be pointing to is, well, it might not be consistent. Am I incorrect in assuming that?
I'm not sure if inconsistent is the best word, but if there's like objective statements like pertaining to the speed of certain characters, and we know those characters are relative, then I wouldn't call it an inconsistency. I would just say like it contextualizes the light. Like, would you agree that there are certain light-based attacks in like anime or manga that aren't necessarily light speed?
Sure. I'm not sure if that's necessarily relevant to Bleach though, because that is what we are talking about.
Yeah,
because
that's fine.
in some series there can always be like some magical energy bullshit that slows it down or something. There could always be something like that. But in this particular series, especially given the instant that I had brought out, I'm not seeing any of that applying. As well as like the Negacion. Because like the Negacion, I have the data book if you want. It's just blatantly stated to be light. It's a beam of light. They even specifically state like a beam as well. Like,
yeah, I'm not sure if the beam lends more credibility. That could just describe like beaming is.
no, I'm just saying even the way they describe it is how we would describe light in our real world.
Okay, I mean, if you grant that, hey, Hisagi and other lieutenants can dodge the Negacion, and I think it's explicitly stated that Gin's Bankai was around the sound of speed. So if we know, like,
then he says that he was lying about that.
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure he's lying, saying it wasn't like that fast. Like it wasn't saying like that was completely useless statement, but it was.
The specific statement was, I lied. My the Bankai doesn't extend that far, and it's not that fast either. However,
it's fat as fuck.
if anything, the idea that he says it's 500 times the speed of sound, and then hits someone who should be far beyond that, just solidifies like consistently within the story that like, yeah, no, this is beyond like 500 times the speed of light.
But
because that would also contradict like a blatant plot point, which was the Rukia fight with Aroniero. That was like a whole thing in the fight. Like,
yeah, there were 2 points she made. So the first one was that, hey, we know Gin's Bankai isn't 500 times the speed of sound because that would contradict other feats that are light speed. But again, that
first point was that he lied. Yeah, the first point was that he lied.
Yeah. But I don't think that first point means much because you said that when he lied, it was the other way, meaning that his Bankai wasn't that fast. So him lying didn't carry much weight.
Oh no, he always said it is not that speed, and it's not and it doesn't extend that far.
He doesn't say it's not that fast. Wait.
No, he says it's even if I say it's not that fast. Like if we're talking about say a bullet, if you're saying, oh yeah, dude, that thing's like instant and go around the earth 7 times in a second. Okay, a bullet's not that fast. Okay, sure, but then if we're talking about say a different type of bullet, we're talking about like a rifle bullet. You're just like, oh yeah, no, dude, that thing's like a third of the speed of sound. Like which certain handguns are roughly a third of the speed of sound. It's like the muzzle like the escape velocity of the muzzle, or not from the muzzle, from the barrel. But then other rounds are well beyond that, like especially high caliber rounds. But I could also linguistically just say, oh yeah, no, it's not that fast. It's faster. See what I mean?
Wait, sorry.
So like even linguistically, I think it's perfectly fine to use it in that context to say that something is faster than what it was being referred to prior.
Sorry, how does that analogy map onto the Bleach example? How did that analogy of the gun map onto the Bleach example?
Oh, because you were talking about I'm saying even if you wanted to focus on the wording of it, based off of the wording itself, just linguistically speaking, it would make perfect sense for me to say it's not that fast in reference to something that is faster than what we are speculating or what is being speculated. That's why I brought up the example of different bullets. Like you could sit here and say, oh yeah, no, bullets are fast. They're like a third of the speed of sound, bro. You can't really react to them from like a certain distance. And then so like that rifle, you just you're not gonna really see it coming. Okay, it's not that fast. It's faster. Grammatically speaking, that makes sense. So I think it's a fair interpretation to even say if someone says it's not that fast in reference to it in a context like this, it could also be just fine saying like it could be just fine for the object in question or being referenced to be faster than what is speculated. Like just grammatically. So I don't see that as a particularly strong counter. You do bring up but there is also the point prior, which I'm sure you're gonna address at some point, but that it just blatantly contradicts like a plot point.
The plot point being the Anyara one.
Yeah, no, that was like a big thing for like the plot of the fight, but then also Rukia's like personal character development was tying into that. And that was like a big thing, her having to reveal it, having to trap him so that he can't avoid the light. Like that was the big thing. Like that's why she set up all those different keto to stop his movement, so he couldn't just run away from it again.
Yeah, but I don't think in that instance he actually had to dodge the light. So when Rukia shot when she shot the wall, the walls were falling, but 5% of it hadn't begun falling yet. He looked at the wall, noticed like the walls come, and then he moved out the way. So he didn't actually have to dodge light speed. He just had to dodge the falling speed of the pillars.
No, here, I'll show you in the manga. Give me 1 second. We can actually see that the hole in the wall is already there and that there's a shadow on his face is still in shadows, but then the area right behind where the wall is, the light hasn't touched him yet. Give me 1 second.
Sure.
Where is it?
I can try and find it as well if you want me to take a look.
It should be good. Give me 1 second. See, that's that reference 17. All right, I think I found it. Give me a second, though. Like I said.
Sure.
That's the wrong URL. God, we're actually being respectful. It's killing the VC. Fuck. Call me a Spurg or something. Like
That's the thing with Regulus debates, bro. This man is too fucking like composed, bro.
Demi, you suck. You suck, Demi. Fuck you, Demi. You suck.
Thank you. Someone had to.
Demi, you're wrong about bullets, but your analogy makes sense. So, bullets are faster than the speed of sound, Demi.
I mean, yeah, but the analogy still works, though.
The analogy
To be
works.
fair,
But
there are certain bullets from certain models of guns that were roughly a third of the speed of sound. That's what I'm saying. It still works. Like,
Hey, I
so
sent the scan and
I disagree.
Everything you say
Okay,
after this
buddy.
is wrong because that was wrong. By the way, I'm just letting you know.
We'll just forget that like a blunderbuss or anything like that existed. Okay, all right. Forget about the musket. Like,
I use a musket for home defense.
nah, dude, you gotta load up like just like the founding fathers intended. You
Just
gotta
like
load
the
up and hit
founding
him with the
fathers
grape shot.
intended.
Yeah, man, you gotta hit him with the grape shot, bro. Like,
First, three men break into my house. First one, domes the guy. Second one, misses, shoots the dog, shoots the neighbor's dog. I go to the top of my stairs and load my cannon full of grape shot. Decimate the third man.
Tally ho, lads.
I forget. Fuck, I forgot that part. I had most of it.
Where is it? God, I forgot. This nigga's
Wait.
just like fucking palette swap Ichigo. Jesus.
I posted it in the VC scans. That's the one.
Hold on. Let me see if I can find the manga panel.
You know, you can check VC scans. I posted what I think might be the.
Yeah, but I'm stubborn, so.
Oh, shit.
What is this? Should be here. Here, and I'll also find the anime for you as well.
Sure.
This game is.
Oh, well, Destiny dropped a new stream with another unhinged person. That's fun.
Oh, you watched Destiny?
Yeah, watch some of this stuff.
Hmm.
Got some good stuff going on there.
Yeah, I thought you did.
No, he's pretty decent with a lot of politics stuff.
Yeah, I agree.
Oh, excuse me. God.
You know, it's in the VC scans. You can just.
Hold on, no, I'm sorry. I'm just scrolling through the video to find the time frame for it as well. Give me one
Oh,
second.
sure.
Here we go. Oh, the anime's even okay. Yeah. Let me scroll it. Where is it? VC scans. Oh yeah. That's the manga scan. And here, I'll show you the anime with the timestamp as well. I do accept anime, by the way, just with the exception of like filler stuff. Here, it's at about 9:12. You'll see it. The anime makes it even more blatant because you can literally see the light on the floor and on his back.
What did you say the timestamp was?
Oh, it's right underneath it, 9:12.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fine. I mean, I saw the clip in the anime, and then all of the pillars fall down, and then he starts to move on. But then
The fact that the light is already like sorry, in that we see it, like it's like on him and then he outruns it. But even then, if you wanted to leave this one aside, that's fair. We could even throw this feat entirely because there is still the one which is not in question of Hisagi and what's her name reacting to that.
Oh, the Nagasi.
Yeah, the Negacion. To my recollection, the thing that you tried to use to put it in question was wondering whether or not it was like it behaved like light. However, it seems to. It's also described just as light, stated to be just as light. So there's just a wealth of evidence that it's just straight up light. At least with the Negacion feat, which, to be fair, doesn't prove all of the lieutenants are. I got other scaling for that, though.
Sure. Are you familiar in the Can't Feel Your Own Word novels how what's her name? Candice, her attacks are stated to be like massively slower than light. And like even class opponents like barely struggle to dodge her attacks.
I mean, yeah, that's fine, but then we also see people who are weaker than her react to Balas, which are 20 times faster than Sarah's, which are just stated to be light. I can go upstairs and grab the data book if you want.
Yeah, but again, I mean, if it is the case that hey, light more pertains to like an elemental affinity as opposed to like actual inward light. So let's say if we know
Hold on,
that
what does that even mean though? Elemental affinity? Like, what are you even
So-
inferring? Like,
okay, so attacks can have different properties like light, wind, fire, etc. But they don't necessarily have all the attributes. Like so an attack can be like light based, but not necessarily scaled to like the speed of light. I mean, we acknowledge that's the case in like other anime media. It's just a case of whether it also pertains to Bleach. So if for example we know that Candy attacks are lightning speed, and then let's say Udi's attacks at the beginning of the series are like stated to be light. And we know Udi's attacks are massively, massively fast and slower than Candice's lightning. Then we can probably conclude that that's also the case with Bleach, that just being light doesn't make it actually light speed. If we know that.
I mean, yeah, sure, it could potentially end up being that. However, just saying that doesn't apply to this one at all. You haven't given any reason to suggest why this should apply to the Negacion whatsoever. There seems to be no inconsistency with it being at that light speed level anyways.
Well, what I was saying was Udi's attacks are stated to be light, like his arrows. And if we know that
made of light, like a hard light, yeah. But I mean, that would be how we would determine that, in my opinion, would be examining how it functions. Because physically speaking, hard light is theoretically possible. We just don't have the technology to like really fucking make it right now. But that's possible.
So
That's
what's
completely possible. So even if something like it's stated to be light and behaves like that, doesn't move at all, it's like, okay, that's like hard light. Even if I were to like use like an arrow made out of hard light, okay, well, it doesn't have to move at light speed. It's still made of light. It's using, I can't remember the exact fucking physical process off the top of my head, but you can pretty much condense light into almost like a structure like that. It still retains all of the innate properties of light, but it now just doesn't move. It's hard light. I'm not sure if that even necessarily applies to the Negacion. So like, it seems to me like it's pretty consistent. The Negacion, like it behaves like light as well.
Wait, doesn't it pierce the ground? If the arrows are hard light, wouldn't that also entail the Negacion as well?
No. Why? Why would it?
Because if it's like piercing the ground, then it's like, wait, where's the picture of the Negacion?
Oh yeah, do you think that light doesn't carry momentum? Because it does.
Does like carry momentum?
Yeah, it does. There was a study done at MIT. They put a very thin board on a sliding track, shined a beam of light focused at it, and the board moved on the track. Like that was a well-known study. I think it was 2004. I think
you're right, because I think something about the amount of like weight that's caused from the light hitting the earth is something measurable to something, but
yeah, I mean, you could even feel it yourself to a very small degree if you've ever been on a stage before. Like I did acting for a very, very brief period of time. And so I did a stage performance, and you can fucking feel the light hitting your shoulders. Like it's not even just the heat on it, like just the physical sensation of something touching you.
okay, then I guess I'm breaking the point aside. Yeah, I kind of agree. I think I read something about the earth moving, the light moving from the sun, moving the earth a certain amount of distance away. But so, okay, so you acknowledge that Candice's attacks are lightning speed, right? You acknowledge that Candice's speed, her arrows are slower than lightning. Or did you want to send this gun?
Even if it says that, I would just say that's just inconsistent. That's that just.
But I mean,
considering.
But if it's stated via like an omniscient narrator, wouldn't that be like the strongest form of like evidence?
No, I don't. I genuinely take death of the author, especially when it's a very long running series like that, because there are just several things which can just be, if you were to take that, would just contradict an absurd amount of things, even particular plot points from that, as well as other statements that happen as well. because then there are other statements for like say the Negacion, the Cero, as well as the Bala, which come from data books, which say the exact opposite.
That the Sir is made of light.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. It's just stated to be light. Granted, it says like spiritual light, but I don't think that's particularly relevant because we know that like there's two types of particles in bleach, Kishi and Reishi. Reishi is just a Kishi, like a particle like what we have, all the physical shit that we have, just like with a soul attached to it. That's literally what it is. Like,
Okay, so you know when you said Uryushu's arrow, but they're effectively light in nature, but they're based on the speed at which they're shot, meaning they're not necessarily light. Do you think Ceras follow that same logic, or do you think Ceras correspond to the speed of their actual property? Like, you think they would be
no,
light?
we see it's not like an object shaped like something made of light that's moving. We see it's just a literal beam that is fired off. Same with the Negacion. So it would behave differently than what we would expect to see something like hard light behaving.
So you would grant. Sorry, go on.
No, continue. You're good.
Oh, so then you would, following that, then you would have to say that Ceras would be light speed if they're not like propelled by anything. It's just based on their own the speed of their innate property.
I mean, yeah, it's just consistent that they're light. Yeah, consistently stated rather that it's light speed. There's also other things which would also correspond to that, like the fact that Chad fought a dude who has an attack that's just straight up stated to be a flash of light.
Oh, that Primera Espada guy with the afro.
Yeah. So I mean,
God.
yeah, and that's not even a Cero. It's just straight up stated to be like light itself, like a flash of it.
Okay, sure. I think we're kind of at an impasse because I'm saying we would have to know that they are slower than light if characters can dodge them, and then those characters are slower than Candice's attacks. And you're saying, well, we can disregard Candice's attacks because there's like the Negacion and Riku's statements contradict, therefore they would take precedence. So then I guess we have to go into those statements that you think contradict that, namely the Negacion and the Rukia wolfing. Do you want to go?
Yeah, it's just I'm saying we could even leave out the Rukia thing. Even just going off of the Cero, the Bala, and the Negacion, as well as the that one attack from that dude. That's all just straight up stated to be light, just straight up stated. And in addition to that, the to the point that you raised about like you have a statement saying this, I have 4 saying something different, as well as just blatant events that happen in the series that show them reacting to or just dodging it.
Yeah, but what I put into question was that I think can have the property of light in like media, but not like maybe we're getting a bit circular, but not necessarily light speed. So it could be the case of light speed, and it could be the case that they're not necessarily light speed. However, if we have like an explicit confirmation of everything's speed, say for example, something was stated to be the speed of lightning, I know that thing is faster than that thing that you claim is light, and then light speed, then we would have to, it would logically follow that that thing that is light speed isn't inherently light. Like, I think maybe we're going a bit circular here, but like I still think that this is sufficient defeat to the points you raised.
I'm not following. Could you repeat that? Like I don't.
Sure. So there are attacks that you say are light, and therefore they're light speed, like Ceros and Butters. But if we know that those supposed light speed attacks are slower than something that's explicitly stated to be the speed of lightning, then we can logically like conclude that they might have the property of light, but they're slower than actual light because they're slower than the lightning. That's
why is a Cero slower though?
Because it was stated. So there are characters that can dodge Ceros. Characters are like there are characters that are lieutenant class, and they can dodge Ceros. And there are captains who are much faster than them, and they struggle massively with dodging lightning. So then it would logically follow that.
Who struggled with Candice though? Because to my recollection in the manga, the only one who fought her was like Ichigo, and he like literally threw her across like the fucking city.
There's a few people. There was Ginjo, who he was a massive distance away from Candice. She shot an arrow, and even though he was very far away, he still was able to react to the speed of the lightning, even though it was explicitly stated to be much slower than actual lightning. So we know Ginjo, at the bare least, is slower than lightning. and there was also Shinji, who's a captain, and he also was just barely capable of dodging the lightning. So we those two at the very least are like slower than lightning.
Well, yeah, but again, that also still goes against it because even then, the method of proof that you used for the Candace thing, if applied to all of the other like things that are stated to be light, again, the preponderance of evidence is just way in my favor because there is more weighing in favor of this being the case as opposed to that because your main argument right now is okay, well there's something that's stated to be slower and some people struggle with it. Let's even say they do struggle to and it is stated. Again, there's consent of the author in a case like that because there are several things which come prior which are in the same vein of statement that you said, which is in this case a data book, which say the exact opposite and consistently say that as well. And even then, the Bala is even beyond that. It's got a multiplier to it. That's 20 times that.
Yeah, but they're never actually. So you're saying there's equal interpretation. There are things that are stated to be light, and there are things that speak to electricity. Therefore, because there's a preponderance of evidence for the light, we can disregard the electricity. But there's never been any explicit comment on the speed of them, only that their property is light. The only comment pertaining to the actual speed is in regards to electricity. So I'm still calling into contention. They might have the property of light, but all statements don't confirm they're actually the speed of light. So
Well, no, that doesn't really matter, though. I don't think I would even need to find a statement specifically referring to the speed of it, seeing as though we know what light is and where does it get its speed. It gets its speed from its properties. Like that is why light is that speed, is because it's massless. That's why radio waves are that speed, because it's massless and it's moving through space at that speed. So like we know that's like so that's yeah, that's pretty much what I'm saying. Like so like we know where it comes from. So I don't think I even need to say that. It's like if saying like, well, okay, we have confirmation of like Yamamoto's Bankai, but we don't have any confirmation about in the heat of it, but we don't have any confirmation about this other thing which we saw melting stuff. It's like, well, okay, that
Sorry, what did you say? We don't have any confirmation about.
Huh?
You said we don't have confirmation of, but I didn't hear the actual word.
Oh no, it's about like the temperature of this thing, despite the fact that we see it melting more things, more difficult to melt, or breaking down things, which even Yamamoto's Bankai can't do that. So I mean, like I'm saying that we can see this without even needing a statement of that because we understand like the nature of light. Light gets its speed from its properties. So if it's just stated to be light and it behaves like light, then I see no reason for me to doubt that it is light. Anything beyond that would just be beyond a reasonable doubt. Which I mean, I'm sure you and I, neither of us are gonna rat out on this. Like, I'm not gonna sit here and start bringing up some like fucking epistemic nihilism about this. I'm sure you wouldn't. Like, I'm not gonna go into some Cartesian skepticism or anything. So like, being like given that it behaves like light and it's stated to be like light. So I don't think an entailment of that would also just be the speed of it as well. Yeah.
Maybe I feel like what I'm gonna say isn't a new point. It's just a repetition of the old. I mean,
Do you guys want to
that's
conclude? Because y'all have sort of been just saying the same thing back and forth for like, a good, like 5 minutes.
If he's got a new debug, yeah, that's fine. However, I do have to give the scaling for like the lieutenants though, because that is technically my position.
sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just saying on this specific point about whether or not the properties of light would correlate to it being light speed or not.
Oh
and
no,
then-
I get what you're saying. I'm just saying like yeah, no. If he's got anything new to say, then I'll hear him out. But if not, like yeah, we can just move on. I still have to do that.
Yeah, we can.
Light speed scaling.
Well, I'm saying like conclude on the whole debate. I'm just saying on this point real quick.
Oh no. Yeah, I get you.
Yeah, I mean, what I would say to that, you said there are certain properties in the anime, therefore it logically follows that all properties of light are carried across. And to that, I would say not necessarily. I mean, just because like there could be some properties of light that are carried across, like it might be like straight or linear lines, but it doesn't logically follow that every aspect is carried across. Like I mean, I know you said what it's another manga, but like there's lots of animes and manga where I think. So, for example, in My Hero Academia, the guy who has lasers, the light can only travel in straight lines as light does in real life. but it still doesn't have the speed. So it doesn't have every characteristic of light, even though it has that. So it's not always the case that everything has some of the properties of light. It has all of the properties of light. So then the contention would be, is this applicable in Bleach? And then again, yeah, this is getting a bit circular. But it's stated to be the speed of lightning, and it's stated to be slower than that light, then like we can conclude that this is of the same
Okay.
as a Mahir.
Yeah, I feel like I've already heard this argument.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Yeah,
That was effectively a conclusion on my part.
I guess
I don't think I
I'll
need
just-
a conclusion. I think
I'll just say the last part. It behaves like it, and that's just a way that we identify things. If like, especially in a physical sense, like if we see that, say this celestial body behaves exactly like a star, it's a star. That's just Leibniz's law. But yeah, no, we can just move on to like the relativity scaling.
Do you want me to give? Do you want me to just give like my like verdict on this specific point real quick, Demi, so you guys can operate under this being either true or false depending on my verdict, or?
No, you can sub it out, because my main thing, the second point, is just that all of these lieutenants have comparable scaling to each other. So if one of them's light speed, all of them are.
All right, God.
Yeah. So so we'll start with. Oh, sorry. And we did explain prior to the debate, though, the only ones that we're excluding are the ones who literally do absolutely zero. Like the ones who literally have no feats on screen. So like Isane, she literally never fights. Sorry, she pulls out her sword once and gets blitzed by like Ichigo. She has no feats. Like that's the only one that.
Yeah, Isane is Kyoraku's lieutenant, right? No, wait, Isane is Unohana's?
Unohana's, yeah, tall bitch.
Yeah, Max, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Bro, she's like 6'3" or some shit. It's
Oh,
fucking crazy.
jeez, damn.
That's what I'm saying. That's a big bitch. But but yeah, so okay. So we have, what's his name? I'm trying to remember his name. The gay nigga.
That doesn't narrow it down. The Mirror Spot?
No, he's from Lieutenant
Yumichika. Yeah.
Yumichika does have relative scaling to what's his name? Shuhei, because he literally beat him.
Mexican.
Like he like literally beat him in a fight.
When was this?
In the Soul Society arc. Because
That
then
sounds familiar.
Yumichika fights him. It happens off screen, but Shuhei even confirms, yeah, he beat the shit out of me.
But would it not have been? I haven't seen this in a while, so maybe. But I thought like he caught him off guard. Like the nature of his ability was like maybe he beat him like via like getting the jump on him. Was it like, or did he like directly outspeed him?
No, they straight up like fought each other. He doesn't need to outspeed him. He just needs to be relative.
Okay.
Because no one really got blitzed, or even if you wanted to say like he blitzed him, that just makes it even better for Yumichika. But
yeah, that's true.
Yeah, so there's that relativity there, and then that this also translates to Ikaku, who is just blatantly stated by Yumichika to be stronger than him. He's just like Yumichika consistently and constantly yields inferiority to him. He says he's like, he's the second strongest man in the 11th division, which is like, all right, fair. So it's at least relativity there. We'll just be generous and say that they're completely relative. Hard to say who's stronger, weaker, or faster, or slower.
Yeah, although doesn't Yumichika like actively have his power? Like, sorry, go on.
Does he actually have what?
Doesn't he actively hide his power? Like he doesn't.
No, he hides the abilities of his Shikai, and specifically only fights off of his like raw stats.
Yeah, that's fine. Okay.
Yeah. And then so this puts what's his name next to Tetsuzaimon, because they have a drinking game. They drink with each other until one of them until like it's out, and then they fight, and then the loser goes on the beer run. Like that's literally their friendship.
Who's relative to Simon? Is this Ikaku still?
Ikaku, yeah. No, they have a rivalry going back and forth. They even state that, like, yeah, no, we're like, yeah, they fight constantly with each other like that. Because I think there was even like a little comment where he's like, "Oh no, I got it last time." Him being like Tetsuzaimon. So then they fight each other constantly, and also considering the fact that Tetsuzaimon showed up at the Sokyoku Hill, and what's his name, Ikaku, was also unharmed. Seems like they're probably relative with each other, given that, considering they were fighting as well.
What does that mean? Given that he showed up at the hill.
Both of them after that at the Sokyoku Hill, like when Aizen, went mask off, neither of them were harmed. Like at least what we see, we don't see any damage on either of them, and neither of them went to go see Unohana because she was busy talking to Aizen. None of them went to see Orihime because she was busy with like Ichigo and his friends. No one
None of
went to
them.
Isane. Isane was mobilized with what's her name. No indication of it, so it's just the most likely case that these two niggas were fighting and it got interrupted before it could really go on longer. But in order for the fight to actually be able to be interrupted, there has to be some level of relativity between the two. So even if you say Tetsuzaimon should be stronger or faster, which would be supported by this one really weird data book statement, which says he's a captain class fighter. The fact that Ikaku is still not like getting speed bliss in one tap indicates some relativity there. So that still translates over to him.
I could offer some contention, but I don't think it's really that necessary. Proceed with the scaling.
So
enough bits contend.
Then we have two of those lieutenants, like having some comparable scaling to each other. On top of that, we have Momo and Rangiku having comparable scaling to each other because they both fight against and have the same feat against the Tres Bestias and Ion. Both of them get blitzed by Ion. Both of them are able to fight and actually clash with the Tres Bestias. So that's relativity there. I'm trying to remember.
I don't remember enough of this to like offer any refutations. Like I know they fought, I don't remember what exactly happened.
To be fair, none of what I'm saying is bullshit. Like I'm not just trying to say you're saying, don't argue with it, but it's like Bleach is one of those series where like they're really blatant with the scaling. Either a nigga gets blitzed or he doesn't. Like
yeah, I'll take your word for it.
But fucking who's the second division? Omaida. Fucking what's his name? Omaida's able to react to fucking able to react to Geo Vega as well as that what's his name? The elephant nigga who was also
Arrogance fraction.
Yeah, the elephant nigga. I can't remember his name. Yeah, he blatantly reacts to him, and to my recollection, there's also like that also connects over with fucking what's his name. I'm trying to remember. I can't remember fucking Omaida's.
Maida reacts to
pretty easy because he blatantly scales to what's her name. Rangiku, who like sees the Negacion. Let's see. Isane does literally nothing in the series aside from getting her chin checked by Ichigo. So like we said earlier, that's the exception. Momo, already went over her. Renji, do we even need to say it?
Yeah.
He beat up Mask. Like dude fires a beam of light at him.
Wait, is Renji a lieutenant in the series? I thought.
Yeah, no, end of series. He's still a lieutenant. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's fucking. I wanted to see Captain Renji, but no, we got more Vizards coming back. Like who the fuck? But so then we got Renji, who is number 7, Tetsuzaimon, who number 8, and now she just blatantly reacts to
Mashido is the one you're looking for. Mashido.
Mashiro. Oh yeah, no, she also has the blatant light speed feats just by virtue of fucking scaling above Momo.
Yeah, okay. I mean, I can say she's.
Oh, assuming that, but even aside from the light speed, just like she is at least that lieutenant level, just by virtue of doing that, and also the fact that she was beating the fuck out of Shuhei for like the entire time that they were prepping for the second invasion. And then we already got Rangiku. Oh yeah, fucking what's her name? She just straight up blitzes Ichigo a couple of times.
Who does?
Yachiru.
I think she's lieutenant end of series because she effectively becomes compatible.
Well, I'm just going over all the bases.
Oh, sure.
She like even just on her own, no Kenpachi type scaling, she does just straight up blatantly blitz a few people who are like lieutenants as well. She blitzes what's his name? Yumichika and Ikaku. It's kind of played as a joke, but she's always consistently shown as super fast. Like even in the video games, like they describe her as like really fucking fast. It's weird. But then in the end of series, that lieutenant, it's Ikaku. So we already have that there, at least the relativity there. And then Fuck, who's number 12? Oh, Nemu. Yeah, no, Nemu. That's
She passed Panita. Yeah, I'd grant you that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He
Okay.
fights Pernida. She's at least as fast as the other lieutenants.
Yeah.
And
So
then who
I
was?
grant you all the lieutenants.
Oh, that's right. Ruki was 13. We
Yeah,
have no
yeah.
idea who her fucking lieutenant is at this point, but like, at least when she was a lieutenant, like,
Mm.
you know, she had those relativity feats to all these other characters.
Yeah,
Just
that's
by
fine.
virtue
So,
of fighting just by virtue of fighting like in a Spada at that
Hmm.
point.
yeah. So
And
assuming
then-
I grant you all of those, where does that lead the debate from?
Oh,
Well,
that just means that all of the lieutenants that actually have feats that do something on screen have
Or
that
somewhat
skill.
relative to each other. Yeah.
Yeah, that just means that all of them. Oh, I forgot. Sasakibe. Yeah, he's just blatantly stated to have been able to be a captain.
I think, yeah, I remember that. So, okay.
Yeah, it was stated that there were several times when the captaincy was open, but he declined the offer several times. Like, I think it was Byakuya who said it.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, is that all of them?
Yeah, as far as I remember.
All right, so do you guys just need judgment on that first part then? Because I feel like y'all agreed on everything for this part.
Yeah.
I just didn't want it to go
for the
fucking
first
nuts.
part. Yeah, so for the first part, I'd give the point to Demi. The reasoning for that is so Regulus, you gave the reasoning or your basis for your skepticism was okay. In these other series, we see that these people have these light-based attacks, right? That don't necessarily hold all the properties of light, such as the speed. Then Demi asked you why should this be the case within Bleach. You then brought up the databook scan of these like this thing being slower than lightning or something like that, right? And you're using that as your basis to say, okay, within Bleach, this could be the case, right? That this should be the case that light doesn't necessarily hold this property because we know these quote unquote lieutenant level characters weren't able to dodge an attack that's stated to be lower than light within a data book. Now, you just never attacked this, but Demi literally said death of the author and that we shouldn't necessarily take a data book scan, especially given the fact that it contradicts things that are within the series, right? And just the fact that you never really attacked death of the author would
But
just give Demi that point.
yeah, I thought I did attack that point.
How did you attack death of the author?
So he said we can disregard that because there's other light speed
No, he
states.
said we can disregard that because of death of the author. So what was your like refutation to death of the author?
Yeah, I thought his refutation was contingent on like other light speed statements. And I said if it's an omniscient, sorry, it's not the author stating something, it's like a narrative within this series stating something. So like it's still stated to be like within
Was
that.
it not a data book scan
Like,
that you were using?
The one that he mentioned was a narrator statement. However, during the debate, there was no mention
what?
of whether or not death of the author would apply even to narrative statements, or at least no contradiction or no contention to that idea. Because I did
Sorry.
straight up say it's applying to a narrator statement.
Sorry,
that's
I
what I
unplugged my mic. I didn't hear anything.
Because basically what I'm saying, Regulus, is what I heard during the debate was Demi's really main contention to your point was just simply death of the author, and your basis for your skepticism would have been dismissed via that, and you really never contended it, and outside of that, y'all were just sort of chatting back and forth on your interpretations, while his interpretation is just based off the fact that, okay, we see this thing, we see that it behaves like this, so therefore it should be this, right? And your basis to question that, which is the statement, had a refutation put towards it, which you never adequately addressed, which was death of the author, because death of the author would apply to narrator statements or whatever. You just never contended that, put it into question, anything. You just sort of rolled with it.
Yeah, what I was saying is I thought death of the author statement. So he's saying I thought that was contingent upon the reason why we can't trust the narrator is because of the contradictions.
No. The reason, no, that's not what death of the author is. I'm pretty sure at least. The reason why we can't trust the author is because the whole idea of death of the author is that they write it, right? Or the narrative is given to us, and then that is then free to be interpreted. Anything the author tries to add of their own interpretation is just their own interpretation. It doesn't take precedence over what is seen within just the narrative that's presented. That's what Death of the Author is. Well, like a brief, like, sort of thingy-mabob of it.
And then what about when I said about how like inverse they still recognize the attacks are like relative to like speed of sound or
What? And what about the speed of sound?
so like it wasn't just something that was stated by the
You cut out again.
wait, hello?
Yo.
Yo. So then I said it wasn't just something stated by the narrators, it was also something acknowledged by the characters within the verse. So even if like it's the author stating something, if it's like acknowledged by both in verse and out of verse, acknowledge that it's like
Wait, what was acknowledged? The fact that it's slower than light?
mhm.
And what was the statement you used for that?
Oh, sorry, I just got back. What was up?
He's saying that outside of the statement about it being slower than lightning, he used another statement regarding it as like slower than the speed of sound or something.
Oh, it was like the Geen one. Yeah, the refutation was Geen blatantly stated that he himself lied about it. And
Oh
then
yeah,
he
yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. I remember that. Yeah, Demi himself said, okay, Geen was saying that, but Geen literally just straight up says afterwards that he was lying about the speed, he was lying about the length or whatever. He was lying about like just a bunch of shit. So there's no reason to take that statement for credibility, like to have credibility.
Yeah, and then I said he was lying, but he said he was lying, saying it wasn't as fast as the speed of sound, meaning it would be slower than the speed of sound.
Okay, and then Demi, what'd you say to that?
Oh, I said the just linguistically speaking, like I can sit here and we can say something in question. That's why I brought up the bullet example. Like we could say, oh, bullets are this fast. They're a third of the speed of sound. And then it's like, so that rifle, man, that should be around that speed, you know, it's pretty fast. I could say it's not that fast. And saying it's not that fast doesn't necessarily mean that it's
And that's
slower.
lower. Okay. And what?
Yeah,
And did you have a
grammatically
refutation to
speaking,
that? Did you have a refutation to that, Regulus?
Sorry, hello?
Did you have a refutation to that?
I heard the beginning of it. Sorry, could you say the last part of the
Okay, he basically said that
Mhm.
essentially he brought up linguistically speaking, that phrase does not necessarily have to insinuate that it's slower in speed. What
Yeah,
was your
could you
refutation to that? He literally said that he gave like the gun example where it was essentially okay, like someone shoots a gun, right, which is so and so amount of speed, right? Um and it's like 1/3 of the speed of light, and then someone shoots like a machine gun or some shit, right? And then they shoot that, and then they say comparatively, oh yeah, it's not that fast, right? It's not saying that oh it's slower than the fucking gun, right? It's comparing it to something else. So just linguistically speaking, that statement does not necessarily mean that it's actually slower than the speed of sound.
maybe I'm just not tracking, but I still analogy like follows.
Okay. How do I put this? Okay. So essentially the statement is it says it's not as fast, right?
Yeah.
It just says it's not as fast as what does he say like anything else, or did he just say it's not as fast?
He just says
Double check.
not as fast as I said.
He's
So
not
like I said, so like I said, in my refutation was grammatically speaking, I can say that to refer to something which is faster than what was stipulated.
Yeah, so he's okay. So he's basically saying that his statement does not necessarily have to refer to quote unquote the speed of sound because he can just be referring to something else grammatically speaking. There's nothing there telling us, okay, this is inherently correlated to the speed of sound itself. And did you say anything to that during the debate, Regulus?
I said that I don't really think like it seemed pretty unambiguous. So if he says, "Hey," this was in part because I didn't really understand his analogy. So if he says, "Hey, this is X amount of speed," and then he goes, "No, I lied. It wasn't actually that fast." Like it can really clearly like say that.
But what
Hey,
Demi is saying is that that
yeah,
statement does not necessarily have to correlate back to that X. It can just be talking about some random Y in terms of speed. It's just saying, oh, it's not that fast, right? It's not saying, oh, it's not as fast as X, right? He's just saying, oh, it's just not that fast. It's just like a vague statement that where it doesn't have to necessarily correlate to X, which was Demi's entire point. And based off what I'm hearing, you just didn't really understand his point, and
yeah.
therefore, because of that, you didn't really have a refutation to it, and therefore, because of that, he would win the point.
I mean, I have reputations now that I understand his debate. I mean, his argument. But yeah, I didn't really understand it at the time. He was
Yeah, so because of that, I'd give the debate to Demi.
uh-huh.
Well, GG. I think it's just an uphill topic. Because there are some weird like inconsistencies within the novels. But then there's just like 50 different things. Like that's the only thing. Like there's a lot of things like even just aside from the speed stuff, there's some like power scaling shit in the novels that like will, if you take that interpretation, would blatantly contradict the plot of like half of the show. Like
Wait, Demi,
what's up?
that Arjun told me you're running him on meta